Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of the Empowered Learning Podcast. I am your host, Andy Bennett. What if your dream job isn't your dream life? My guest today, Jean-Marc Herrada, had it all. 2 master's degrees, a Fortune 100 career, and global leadership roles. But something was missing. But he did what most won't. He quit, walked away from safety, and built a 1.5 million follower Instagram brand on the side before going all in. In this episode, we talk about the golden handcuffs, building a life of freedom, and why digital platforms are the greatest career accelerators of our time if you learn how to use them right. JM drops gems on mindset, skill stacking, and the future of content and coaching. If you're feeling stuck in success, this one's for you. Let's dive in. Good morning, Jean-Marc. How are you doing, sir?
Hey Andy, yeah, amazing. Spring is finally here in Europe, so very
Love it.
happy.
I love it. Yes. If it wasn't abundantly clear before, JM is not from Kansas, right? So he might be a little bit further away than most of my clients. So good to hear that spring has sprung in Europe as well as in Colorado here, and it's a beautiful time of year. So awesome. Well, Jean-Marc or JM, we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but I want to just get to the heart of a question that I'm sure a lot of people are thinking about. And with you being the expert that you are, I would love to get your take on this. So you built a massive, like in the millions of followings in a very short amount of time. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but I would love to know, what is one major mistake that people make when they are trying to grow online? What do you think?
No, so this one goes very well with the theme of the podcast in the end, empowered learning.
There you go.
So the mistake that people do is like trying to jump in and improvise it and be surprised that they don't grow.
Okay.
Like you need to learn it. That's like anything in life.
Right.
So yeah, my first month was an absolute nightmare. And well,
Hmm.
I had to, like, the learning curve was there. Then I put in place a process. Now it goes better. But it's accepting that social media is like many other things, and you need to learn it.
Right. Right. So
Yeah,
that there is a
and that's
learning curve. Yeah. Own that.
well,
Be okay with that. Yeah.
yeah, voilà.
Awesome.
Be okay with that and learn on it. Whether it's free stuff, whether it's paid membership,
Okay.
whether it's watching people doing what you want to
Mm,
do on the social media and emulating them to not start from zero.
right.
So
Right.
this is the biggest mistake. People talk a lot of being authentic, being unique, doing something new. Yes, but uh, don't really start from zero if you don't have the background. If you're someone with a 15
Right.
years experience in social media marketing in some company or something in that flavor, yeah, go
Hmm.
for it and freestyle and do whatever you feel good. Otherwise,
Right.
like maybe try to replicate some success before
Hmm.
going full freestyle.
Right, right. You and I had a great conversation last week about the importance of replication and having systems in place and that kind of stuff. So I love that. I think that's such good advice, is because and I maybe this is convicting of myself. I tend to see something like, okay, that's really, really cool. Now I'm going to go make it my own. And I'm sure if you were my coach, you'd be like, all right, that's cool. Keep the energy there, Andy, but let's stick within the playbook here, because this is going to help you be much more successful, because it's proven, right? We've walked this path
Yeah,
before. You're going to find successful people, or partner with successful people like yourself and lean on their understanding. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. And what's the most tuk, tuk, tuk. Yeah, so indeed English is not my mother tongue also.
You're
The double,
good.
let's say the double difficulty of this on top is that people like yourself, like me, like most of the entrepreneurs, like we get
Hmm.
excited with the new opportunities, we get excited
Yes.
with our own topic. So very often there is maybe something that we find amazing when we explain it,
Hmm.
but for someone who's not so advanced in the topic, might be complete Chinese and they don't understand anything. So that's
Right.
also why I love this data-based approach to make abstraction of how overexcited we could get.
Right. Right. I love that. And so, I mean, back to that idea of just, find systems, use systems, lean into systems, and try not to recreate the wheel for yourselves. Yeah.
Indeed,
I
indeed.
love it.
Yep.
You and I have a mutual friend, Jay Lee. He's also been a guest on the podcast. And I'm sure this is not his saying, but I learned it from him. He says, do what you do best and outsource the rest. And I love that, right? If you're really
I
good at
like it.
this or
Yeah.
that, then do that, but find people that are excellent at things that maybe you're not, And
Yeah.
obviously there's going to be a cost for that. But if your time is worth, I don't know, $100 an hour, just for round numbers,
Mm.
if your time is worth $100 an hour and you can find somebody that does excellent work in an area that you're not great at for $25 an hour, doesn't it make sense that you would hire them to do that rather than you try to struggle through that? I don't know. I thought that was really, really
Yeah,
good.
exactly. Mm.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm
Speaking of
I'm
which, we're
still
gonna have.
I'm still younger in my journey, so compared to him, so for now I'm not outsourcing things,
Yeah.
because so there is a part of social media, there is a part of sales, and that's the discussion I'm having with Jay.
Hmm.
Was so we're talking of a potential like done for you solution,
Right.
and today I'm in the name of the podcast, empowered learning. Learning, I love learning,
Hmm.
but yeah, comes a point, especially when you're
Hmm.
scaling your business, that
Yes.
maybe you need to accept that, hey, this part you will not learn about it, you will
Right.
delegate it and you will use
Yep.
someone to do it for you.
Yep.
And that will be a moment that will be very difficult for me, because I love
Yeah.
learning, so it's helping me a lot so far. But I already know it, in the future one day maybe I will make the tough choice of accepting not to learn, or maybe I will do the mistake of wanting to learn and applying by myself, and maybe wasting a couple of months before going to see an expert. So if I have to predict a mistake of mine, or a
We'll, we'll
tough
we'll check
moment, it
back
would be
in
that
6
one.
months, huh?
Yeah.
We'll see if your prediction came true. I love it.
Mm.
No, and you and I are very similar in that is that I'm kind of, it sounds negative, but maybe those that people that know me the best would agree with this. I'm kind of a control freak, right? I like to do things the way that I like to do them. I would rather, spend the time and do it myself than train somebody else. So I understand the letting go of that ownership and trusting other people to do that is a difficult thing. And then there's the whole monetary thing. If you're just starting out, you may not have, just boatloads of money that you could pay other people, but know your value, know what your time is worth. That's a good one. Know what your time is worth. And then if there is other things that people can do to kind of enhance what you're doing, um, good model. Easier said than done. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. I love it. I love it. Well, we could probably end the podcast now because people have got such good value out of this. But let's backtrack a little bit and find out a little bit more about you, JM. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing, kind of your journey through school and corporate world, and then your pivot. I mean, we had a great conversation last week, so I have a little bit of a preview as to what transpired in your life. But I'd love for you to kind of share that with the listeners.
Okay. Yeah, so for the ones who didn't notice, I'm from Europe, and I let you guess the country. So France, indeed, gave up on hiding the accent long time ago.
Yeah.
Family is from Argentina,
Okay.
and so when I was a child, I always defined myself as a like a good boy. I did like I never caused issues to my parents. I was doing sports. I had good grades. I studied for my master's. Like so in engineering, industrial, mechanical in France, in the US. So everything going very smoothly. Got a very nice job. So with Procter and Gamble, a big American multinational. Very nice opportunities with them. So still, mom and dad very proud. Very good job. Very big company.
Right.
Um, and I kind of built my golden cage with them. Let's say with working like working a lot, but getting the
Hmm.
opportunities thanks to my hard work.
Right.
So I climbed the corporate ladder. I was
Hmm.
very ambitious. Got great opportunities until the moment, a bit of like these pivoting moments where, okay, like at work, to be honest, I wasn't at the best place at the best moment. I'm not sure I was the best guy for that position.
Hmm.
Back in time, relationships completely exploded.
Okay.
And that's a bit the moment where I decided, okay, my small businesses on the side, I was always a bit of a entrepreneur. I started investor. Yeah, I would say I started more as an investor in
Okay.
cryptos,
Okay.
uh, but not just throwing the money. I was waking up every morning from 5 to 8. It was my crypto time. So I made a bit of money. Then I went into real estate, also made some successful investments. And that's when I wanted to switch later in that pivotal moment from, okay, instead of investing money, what if you were to really learn a high income skill and really develop a business that can bring you cash flow now?
Okay.
That's when I started Instagram. I started when I was still working my very nice days of 12 hours per day. So with the first account at so beginning of 2024,
Okay.
managed to make it explode. I think in 100 days, I got 100,000 followers. So I
Wow.
decided to create a second account to figure out, okay, did I get lucky or am I really developing something that works?
Mm-hmm.
So I made a second page and we reached the 100,000 followers in 70 or 80 days. So indeed, the method was working and better. So that's when I had two pages growing at a really good pace. I started making money through them with so first with advertising, then very quickly I had people reaching out to me asking, "Hey, could you like how did you grow so fast? Can you give me some tips?"
Mm-hmm.
First I made the calls for free, then I started charging people. Uh, After the calls, some people were asking me like, "I want more of this," and that's how, without even realizing it, I started having like coaching or consulting clients. Sometimes it was
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs until I decided to quit my 9 to 5 to really scale up this coaching and consulting offer. Because yeah, the offer was not in place, the processes were not in place, and that's when I started feeling that okay, 12 hours a day plus really making a like a premium offer that over delivers on every aspect, like I couldn't do it. So in
Mm-hmm.
October 2024, so in the end, less than a year after
Wow.
I started, I quit the job to go all in on Instagram.
That's crazy. So I'm gonna pull up in October 24. I'm gonna pull up the two channels and we can
Yeah,
kind of talk through those. Um, am I correct that your first one was Prime Wealth, or your was that your
yeah,
first account? Okay.
yeah,
So
indeed.
okay, gotcha. And then She Motivate was after that. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe indeed two things to precise. So precisions on this. So indeed, so I started with faceless pages
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to show myself around. Not that I was shy or anything, but because I didn't want to have to prepare my house, having to dress up nicely, having to take care of the lights,
Mm-hmm.
all that kind of stuff, because I knew that I would be doing this very early morning. So that's
Mm-hmm.
not when I feel the most ready to talk in front of the camera, or
Right.
late at night after a very tedious day.
Right.
So faceless pages, indeed.
Yep. I honestly, and maybe this is just my being new into this space, I'd never heard of that term, faceless Instagram page or faceless, social media account. You see them all over the place, right? They're the ones that just have the inspirational messages and images or video or this kind of stuff, but it's not the person talking. And am I correct that you probably use different voices, right? That are kind of talking over these different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, voilà, indeed. So let's say in the Instagram world and TikTok, YouTube, I think you can have three main types of accounts. First
Okay.
one, I would say, is a company account. Like, okay,
Okay.
Nike has the Nike page.
Okay.
Then the second one, that is maybe a bit more traditional, is personal brands.
Okay.
Uh, like, I don't know, like Cristiano Ronaldo has his Instagram page. That's his
Mm-hmm.
personal brand.
Okay.
Or, voilà. Uh, And the third type is faceless pages. So
Okay.
sometimes people also call them theme pages because yeah, instead of being focused on a person, they are focused on a theme. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, Prime Wealth is on the like mindset and motivation, rather for a
Mm-hmm.
male audience, even though I have 60% men, 40% women. So I was surprised
Mm-hmm.
by that, but that stays consistent.
Yeah.
And She Motivates is more on the female motivation, woman
Mm-hmm.
empowerment, with a
Mm-hmm.
very strong female audience at
Right.
85%.
Right. Right. I
So
love it.
that's the third type of page,
Okay.
faceless.
There you go. Learn something new today. So,
Yeah.
very cool. And we'll come back to these in a little bit here, but wanted to kind of circle back around to the idea um, that you were crushing it, right? I mean, you were getting great grades. You had, I think you have multiple masters. You were in this career
Yeah.
that as a kid, if you looked at that, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm doing exactly what I wanted. Maybe my dream job. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't want to put words in your
Yeah.
mouth, but I mean that's very possible that you would have labeled that as a dream job. And then at some point, that I don't know. I guess just tell me about that pivot. What was the moment that you're like, okay, this is cool and all, but is there something else out there? Is there something better use of my time? Were you feeling unfulfilled? Like, tell me about
Yeah.
what was the transition?
Mm. So the transition, the first one was a realization that, okay, seeing the kind of life that I want, I was always
Mm,
comparing to how my like the situation that my parents were having, the
okay.
possibilities and the
Right.
opportunities that they could offer to me, my sister, and my brother. And I was like, you know what? When I grow up, I want to have the same kind of life that my parents
Right.
gave me during my
Okay.
upbringing. And if I have
Right.
children, I also want to give it to them
Right.
at least. So that was a bit one of the objectives on hey, like I want to grow to be able to give these opportunities to my own children later.
Right.
Um, but then,
So, yeah, level of
yeah,
lifestyle that you had growing up, and then that
yes.
carried on to your kids. Okay, awesome. What else?
Mm. And the second thing, however, that maybe take a step back with this is realizing that, yes, I was comparing in the end where I wanted to be now with where my father was at maybe 50.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is that at 30, I started thinking, okay, do I really want to keep spending 20 years working my 12 hours a day because I'm very ambitious in the company and do
Mm-hmm.
what I'm told to do, go where I'm told to go because I want to climb the ladder fast. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe I will get to the kind of lifestyle that I want and the kind of stability
Mm-hmm.
and possibilities that I can offer to my future family in 20
Mm-hmm.
years.
Right.
And that's when I realized that no, there's a problem. I want to try to get this now. And I think there are other ways to get it maybe faster in our world. And that's when I started by investing, searching on all the online
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. So I spent a bit of time looking with, okay, do I rent um, sales? I was interested with this topic of high ticket closers.
Mm-hmm.
But in the end, it's like active. So you need to take calls. If you're not taking a call, you're not making money.
Mm-hmm.
And then I discovered Instagram and really building assets, especially with the faceless pages. So I saw that, okay, you can build assets, you can give passive income from them,
Mm-hmm.
you can resell them after. So fun fact now. So after 1 year, the pages are worth together $100,000. I have many. I think every 2 weeks I have an offer to buy out the pages,
Wow.
and it goes exponential with the amount
Yeah.
of followers and the quality audience.
Yeah. Passive. Okay. I love it.
Yeah. Mm,
I want to circle back around to this just because, and this is, I mean, this is not scripted. Like if anybody thought that this was scripted, we're just kind of taking the conversation as it goes.
mm,
You mentioned a couple times comparing, and I have a couple background things that
yeah.
I'll give you before I ask the question. But have you ever heard the quote? I think it's Theodore Roosevelt. I think
Yes.
comparison is the thief of joy.
Thief of joy.
You ever heard
I,
that
I I
before?
even have a video on this.
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do, because
Yes, yes.
yeah. So the idea of comparison being the thief of
Mm,
joy, you could kind of I could understand how people could maybe argue that point, but I think there's something to that. The
yeah,
other one that I think is very interesting, and this is just more on the stuff that I'm doing kind of with folks and helping them with their finances, is that um, people coming out of college start comparing what their parents' lifestyle is in their 50s and 60s at 25 and 30. And it's like, well, I don't have the house. I'm not traveling as much. I'm not doing this kind of stuff. And again, back to that whole comparison is the thief of joy. Well, they weren't where you're at 25 either, right? It took them 20, 30 years to get to that point. So I think sometimes, and in your case, this was a motivating factor to get to the point where you want to be, that idea of being just driven and wanting to find better. But I think that could be a double-edged sword of just like comparing yourself to other people in different stages of life is maybe not realistic. Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
indeed, on this one, I'm lucky. I'm on the lucky side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Don't know where it comes from.
Right.
Where like I'm a very growth oriented, growth mindset. I
Mm-hmm.
take these
Right.
comparisons. I even take failures as like as personal challenges and inspiration. Uh, so seeing where my parents managed to be, the
Yeah.
opportunities that they could give me, for me, it was really like something driving me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so fun story. So now that I'm working with with Jay, our common friend, like
Mm-hmm.
expert in sales,
Yeah.
we started talking, and yeah, I shared with him that the 7 or 8 calls. So most of my clients at the very beginning were friends of friends, or people
Mm-hmm.
who followed my adventure from the beginning. When I had calls with complete strangers, like my 7 first calls finished with, "I need to think about it." And I
Mm-hmm.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, sure, go
Yeah.
think about it. I understand.
Right.
Obviously, no one came back to me and no one bought.
Right.
And instead of being completely down, I'm super bad at sales. No one is buying my program. Why did I quit my job? What did
Yeah.
I do?
Right. Right. Yeah.
I was taking it as a challenge, like, well,
Yep.
cannot be worse, can only get
Mm-hmm.
better from here. And like I said at the beginning, the biggest mistake from people in social media is to accept that you know nothing and you need to learn. And I was taking it like in the same sign for myself, like, well, what were you, but not even what were you thinking, but yeah, obviously you need to learn sales. People
Mm-hmm.
go for bachelor in sales or masters in
Right.
sales, or people
Yeah.
spend the whole career in sales. So it's not you, Jean-Marc Herrada, with your 30 something years old who never did sales, who will come and crush it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's being very humble in the approach and using it as a fuel for growth and learning, seeing that,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I can definitely get better at this and I will
Right.
get better at this.
Yep. I love it. I love it. Have you ever heard the term golden handcuffs? Is that a term that you're aware of or heard of?
Mm, no, no,
Okay,
no.
so golden handcuffs, the way that I would interpret that is that you are trapped in a certain thing, right? You are in bondage, you are trapped in there, but they're golden handcuffs, right? So they're not the metal, the ones ever. So it's like you're living in
Mm,
luxury, but you are kind of tied to,
yes.
stuck in a certain way. You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yes.
So um I guess what would you? There's so many different directions. We're going to have to do a second one because I got too many questions to fit into our short amount of time at this point. But what would you say to somebody that is maybe in that state, right? It's like I'm making good money, I'm providing for my family, but this is not fulfilling me, right? I see a better future for myself. I see me being able to fulfill my passions and what I want to do in the world. What would you say to those people that are in that position? Because that's where you were and you made that
Yeah.
courageous leap into this, what would you tell them?
Yeah. Like I wish I would have the solution on this. So to be fully transparent, what helped me is that I had a 3 years contract as an
Hmm.
expat, so with very good compensation in Poland with a
Okay.
company. One of the things that helped me take the decision to jump is that
Uh-huh.
I would be coming, most probably coming back to France. So
Okay.
coming back to France,
Hmm.
losing some of the advantages that I had, like flights paid, accommodation paid, food paid.
Sure.
So it was a bit of a downgrade.
Hmm.
So to be fully transparent, yeah, this is one of the things that helped me.
Right.
Um, in my case, the other factors that helped me take the decision, so might be indeed of a polemical, or some people may argue about it, were the people around me.
Hmm.
Specifically some of my managers in the company. So not all companies are like this. So I have to recognize Procter and Gamble on this. Is
Hmm.
very growth oriented.
Okay.
For the people, they have this saying that so we always strive to do what's best for the individual and the company. And
Mm-hmm.
I was very lucky at that time to have the people in the company to have the open discussion with them on, okay, you know what, I have this business on the side. I don't have a family yet. I'm thinking of quitting to try to go all in and take my risk now.
Hmm.
So this discussion with them really helped me.
Hmm.
And the fact, so maybe this can be applicable for the other people. Uh, that okay, if I quit, let's say I was quitting the job, I was trying to focus on my own business for maybe 1 year, 2 years. Even
Okay.
if it didn't work, if I wanted to come back to the professional world,
Hmm.
I could still do it. And my curriculum would would be even better than if I had stayed
Mm.
at a similar level. Because I was having this discussion. If I were to come back to France, I wouldn't be motivated. It wasn't so at that moment. It wouldn't have been my dream position. So for sure, I wouldn't have been the super high top performer and skyrocketing in the progression. So
Right.
that's when this feedback from one of my managers, Benoit, if he will be hearing this,
Mm-hmm.
uh, was that indeed, even if you quit and then on your curriculum you have this 8, 9 years on PNG and one,
Mm-hmm.
2 years trying to really make your own business, might even give you a stronger curriculum than if you stay.
There you go. I love
So
it.
at least I would put it this way for people who are thinking on the path of, would I be destroying my career if I want to come back? What would they think about it?
Mm-hmm.
Like I had a very direct feedback from someone super successful in the companies on, you know what, someone who has the courage to jump in the uncertainty after a
Mm-hmm.
very good career of 8, 9 years, try to start his business alone, and then comes back to the corporate world for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
that's still a very good profile. You will not be
Right.
losing anything. You might even be winning from this.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Mm.
No, that's great. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I'm assuming in Prime Wealth you probably have some Steve Harvey quotes and different things like that. He does like some inspirational things at the end of his show. He had one that's just called Jump, right? It's like,
Yep.
you know what I'm talking about, right? You're standing at the edge of
He's
this
even
cliff. You gotta jump,
I,
right?
I'm a bit proud on this. He's even following the page.
Hey, looky there. That's fantastic. I have every
Yeah.
I'm sure I know why that is. It's great
Yeah.
content. So awesome. So JM, if you would be okay, I would love to have you back and we can dive into some other subjects because I've
Yes.
got way more questions than I had time to answer at this point, but I would like to kind of wrap up like we typically do with our empowered learning guests and ask you three key questions. So just to get to know you a little bit better and kind of hear your heart, who is a leader that you would most admire and try to emulate?
Yes. So this one is so he's not famous. I
Hmm.
don't think many people know him.
Okay.
My grandfather.
Oh,
So
okay.
and more precisely, my great grandfather and my grandfather's. So the great grandfather was the very first person who started a car selling cars in the south of Argentina.
Okay. Selling what
Uh,
once
so
again?
I, cars.
Oh, okay.
So really heard about this, and he went in the opportunity. Like he was the first one, and yeah, it was really like this is the pure and entrepreneurial spirit
Okay.
of
I love it.
finding an opportunity outside and bringing it. So yeah, he's really an inspiration for okay how he dared to jump. And my
Hmm.
grandfather, who continued in this entrepreneurial journey, for me is really like a model of resilience.
Mm.
So I know that. So he had a business selling appliances, electronics, some furniture. I think twice they had some issues with partners, some theft,
Mm.
some
Wow.
fire. Yes, some fire in the whole store.
Wow.
Like really tough times, but he always pushed through, and the business is still up and running. So for me, yeah, really an inspiration. So
I love
managing
it.
the business as well as the family. So it was four
Hmm.
children, one of them being my father.
Hmm.
So yeah, pushing in the business, having this
Hmm.
wonderful family spanning now across several generations.
I love
So
it.
really an inspiration.
I love it. Well, and I'm sure in both of your channels you see um, examples and people that will rise through difficult circumstances and that kind of stuff, and that's very motivating and God bless him
Yes.
for that. Um, I don't know if you can underestimate the power of having a solid upbringing and family that supports you, and you know what I'm saying. Like I understand that people can get past all of those hurdles, but man, if you have a steady foundation that people support you, they're driven, they're showing you the right way, they love you. I'm grateful to have that. It sounds like you had a great upbringing as well. I love it. So let's shift over. Number two here. What learning has most impacted you in the last year? You've mentioned a couple times that you are a lifelong learner. Obviously, in this space, things are going to change. So what learning over the last 12 months or so has most impacted you?
Yep. So for me would be in the end the sense of urgency, how important it
Mm.
is to develop a
Okay,
sense of urgency.
there you go.
So when you're working in a company, it's always you have a very nice boss, or maybe not so nice, telling you to do things for yesterday and hammering.
Yeah.
So I will not quote any name from my previous companies, but I love them for that. And yeah, the biggest learning is when you're by yourself, no one is behind you giving you
Right.
pushing you. So
Right.
I think I heard the quote from Alex Hormozzi of
Mm-hmm.
hey, try to do what you plan to do for the end of the day, do it by the end of the hour.
Mm-hmm.
What you want to do by the end of the week, do it by the end of the day, and by the end of the month, do it by the end of the week. So it's really trying to push forward, bring earlier everything. And this is hard. This is hard when you
Yeah.
don't have a
Right.
boss behind you.
Right.
That's my learning of the moment.
I love it. Yeah, Alex Hormozzi's got some good stuff there, and that idea of condensing the
Yeah.
timeline. I love it. Very, very good. Okay,
Yeah.
last one for this time around. Like I said, we'll definitely have you back again, but because the name of the podcast is the Empowered Learning, I would love to know what you would do. You mentioned that you don't have kids yet, but it sounds like that might be something that you want in the future. What would you do to empower learning for future generations?
Cool. Um, I don't know if it's the learning itself, but maybe in the end it's my offer currently. So it's really helping 9 to 5ers to
Okay.
learn digital marketing to be able to, in the end, use it as a side income. Today,
Okay.
I see that we're overwhelmed with all the information, with all the possibilities. We see a lot of kind of gurus or personal brands
Mm-hmm.
flashing cars and girls and the lifestyle and everything. So for me, it's like I would like to live in the end, like some good training people follow and helping. Like it's simple, or I don't it's easy, not simple. It's simple, but not easy. So at
Yes.
least
Right.
I dissected it
Right. Right.
and
Right.
it's leaving them a method that, okay, keep going on with your life, but as long as you dedicate 1 to 2 hours per day to learn these skills that I'm
Mm-hmm.
teaching you and
Right.
implement them on top of your 9 to 5, which is very good for a lot of people, you can have a side income on the side.
Mm-hmm.
And you will be
Right.
learning digital marketing, which is important. You will be learning a bit of sales, which is important. So this is something that I really would like to leave to future generation.
So to that, while I finish writing here, and I don't have it up right here, but you had mentioned in your email back to me about kind of like a call to action or kind of an offer at the end of the podcast for somebody that is interested in what it is that you do. I think it was the first three. Is that what we said? The first three to reach out. You had a great offer. Can you tell the folks what that is?
Yeah, so what we can do, if there is anyone in the audience who is trying to grow on Instagram, whether it's a personal brand, whether you have a business page, I would be very happy to have you on a quick call of 30 to 45 minutes to make your account optimization, uh, everything that can be optimized on the account to make it irresistible. So reference to Alex Ormozzi again, to make an account so good that people would feel stupid not to follow.
Yep, love it. So we will put that in the show notes and the links that you can
Mm.
reach out to JM and get in touch with them. But again, it's the first, so this is limited. The first three, he's a busy fella, so we need to kind of capitalize and take advantage of this very, very generous offer of him. So we will definitely do that. And JM, you and I are going to have many conversations and work together for, I hope, a very long time because I just dig what you do and you got a good soul and a good
Yeah.
heart and a very smart, wicked
Thank you, you too.
so I'm looking forward to continuing this conversation. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. All right, take care, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye.
Jean-Marc reminded us that fulfillment doesn't follow the traditional path. It follows clarity, courage, and commitment to growth. Whether you're pivoting careers or building something new, his story is proof that freedom is possible when you bet on yourself. If this episode resonated, hit subscribe, share it with a friend, and leave a review. Your support helps us keep bringing stories that challenge and empower. Until next time, keep learning, keep leading, and keep building a life you don't need to escape from.